Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Before I get into this video, I'd like to ask you all to please leave a like and comment on my video. And Mrs. Sulu, engage that warp drive and hit that subscribe button. Now, for today's video, I'm going to be going through the new additions to the game. The 7 new electronic warfare devices added in. Now, the reason why I'm going to be going through them is they have an important role in the new metas that we will be playing. So I'm going to be starting from the target painter, going all the way down to the guidance computer, disruptor. So let's start it up. Now, I haven't gone through it myself, but I do know that they will be available in the next few days. So once it does come out, we're all going to need to be able to actually um, decide whether we need them or don't need them. Now, the first one is the target painter. It is a part of the support class. It is something that the Bellicose um, is going to be able to use very well. Now, the target painter has a 1 megawatt power grid requirement. If I am correct, this is a mid slot weapon, so you don't really have to worry about where it's placing in other words. The next thing is it has an activation cost of 16.4 gigajoule, signature radius adjustment of 25%, so it alters the signature of whatever you're targeting so that it's easier to lock onto. It has an activation time of 10 seconds and it has an optimal range of 25.3 kilometers and an accuracy fall off of 63 kilometers. Now, what this means is it is highly effective as a weapon and it can really highlight the enemy and make them more noticeable and easier to hit as a target. Now, what are the reasons where you would use this here? Let's see what it says in the description. A system that projects an electronic tag on the target, thus making it easier to target and hit. Using more than one of this module or rig on the shop will result in a penalty to the final effect. Okay, so using more than two of these, I don't see any reason for you to do it because it has a 63 kilometer accuracy fall off. That means with two of them, you're going to have more than enough range with your weapon, and your accuracy fall off is over 100 kilometers just by default. So, double up your target painters at max, there's no reason to go beyond. Unless you're planning to be a super sniper and you're opting to go with three of these, but then you have to incur the massive penalty which comes with it. Okay, moving on. The next one is the sensor dampener. Now, the sensor dampener, if I'm correct, is the exact opposite of a target painter. Let's actually go down and read it. Reduces the range and speed of a targeted ship sensor. Using more than one of this type of module on a ship's rig will result in a penalty in the final effect. Okay, so if I am 100% correct on the sensor dampener, what it does is it actually generates a field. And within this field, everything that is hit by it. No, wait, this is a targeted effect. I'm not sure. So, what it does is it reduces your ability to scan a wider radius. And it's going to reduce your ship's overall percentage by 38%. Now, scan resolution adjustment means that it's going to take you longer to lock onto targets when it is activated. And this is the effect that it's having on the enemy. It also is accurate. It's optimal in 21 kilometers and has a fall off of 42 kilometers. That means it's a nice wide range of combat. Anything that is using standard format play will be affected by the sensor dampener. Now, why would you use these? This year you'd use again something which is small and fast targeting. You want to delay the way in which it's going to lock onto you and hit. You want to reduce its accuracy, reduce its firing speed, and basically all of its effects directly on your ship. You deploy this here. It will counteract the target painter because even though you have a large signature radius, it's going to be harder for them to lock onto you and fire. There will be a bigger wait time between each shot because if I'm correct, it does have an adjustment time result. Now, moving on, this is something which everybody has been waiting for: warp scramblers. Now, warp scramblers are similar to warp disruptors, it's just that they have a higher strength. As you can see, it has a 5 megawatt requirement, 10 gigajoules, and it has a 3 jam strength. Now, it does have a big drawback against warp disruptors, where you now only can use it in 11.25 kilometers. It is a very close range weapon with a massive amount of advantage. It will allow you to stop just about any ship that doesn't have a warp core optimizer or double warp core optimizers fitted. Now, I don't have to go any further into it to understand its basic function. Now, the interdiction sphere. The big thing that everybody has been waiting for. The big thing which everybody has been waiting for. Now, as you can see, it has an inertia modifier of 1000 times. This means that everything moves slower within the interdiction sphere. Right, the next thing, simultaneous modules 1, power requirement 1 megawatt, activation time 30 seconds, flight time 120 seconds, fuel consumption 600. It looks like they removed the original 10 seconds reactivation and waiting time, so you can continuously use this module. Now, there was the original plan. However, this disruption field only has a 16-kilometer radius. Okay. Now, sorry about that there. Just a little bit of a message coming into me for some things that I've done yesterday. I was playing, even though I did give the major warning on not playing. The launcher is designed for interdictors. It can create a warp disruption sphere that forces passing ships out of warp. Only one of this module type can be fitted at a time. So anybody who was thinking of doubling or tripling this module, you're not going to be able to do it. You just have to wait for it to wear off before you can fire again. Now, moving on. Warp Disruptor Field Generator. Now, if I am correct, this is the bigger generation field, the stronger weapon. So, let's see. Signature radius adjustment 50%, activation time 30 seconds, heavier fuel consumption, prohibited in Empire regions, disruptor field range 17.2 kilometers. So as you can see, this one here says that it is prohibited in Empire regions, right? So this means that it can't be used in low sec. Now let's see exactly what it does. The field generator projects a warp disruption sphere centered upon the ship for its entire duration. The field prevents any warping of jump drive activation within its area of effect. Only one of this module can be fitted. So this is basically what everybody wants to have: the warp disruption field. It has an optimal range. It has a range of 17.2 kilometers, meaning that these are still small modules. Now, when it comes to these, I'm expecting that they're going to launch the bigger ones in the future, maybe with other events that are coming out in the next few months. Maybe these are just the low type variants of the weapons, and the large type will be launched later. Oh, this one was also prohibited in Empire Space. I just had to double check. Now, let's see what this is. Tracking Disruptor. So, once more, another reverse a reverse field play basically disrupts the range and tracking speed of the turret of the opponent's ship. So in other words, for those who are using guidance computers, heat sinks, ballistic controls, these are made basically to counteract you. And as you can see, the skills are really massive on this module. But unlike your module, which has a 60-second cooldown, this can run permanently, meaning it will affect your regular range and attack from your ship, which is a bit unfair if you're asking me. It should have the same cooldown as your ballistic control system or your missile guidance system or whichever system you are using on your ship to improve power. Now, moving on. Guidance Disruptor. Similar story, there is no reduction in time that it can be active. So these are going to affect your ships non-stop, while your computers only help you for short periods and small bursts with a massive cooldown timer. Now let's see. Disrupt the effective range and accuracy of missiles launched from the opponent's ship. Using more than one of this type of module or rig will have a penalty in the final effect. Now, all of this, what it's doing is it's reducing the amount of effectiveness they have. These will mainly work for your small ships because you want to reduce the amount of impact they take. So you're going to put it on to stop rapid missiles from hitting the ship. You're going to put it on to negate that effect from the heavy impacts. Or you're going to take it and you're going to dump it on your battle cruiser to reduce the amount of impacts you are taking. However, understand that using these results in you losing out a lot in your direct combat. And you could use these more for a PvE experience than a PvP experience. I know that this isn't the way that I wanted to put out this video. I definitely wanted to give a little bit better of an aspect on these new systems. I am going to give a better one when they finally do launch, if they do keep at these prices. I actually am going to place an order in the market for multiple pieces. Now, here everything that you need to know about these systems. These systems are all made basically to help PvP players have a greater advantage in combat. However, they are also made to take away some advantages from PvP players in combat, such as the sensor dampener, the guidance disruptor, and the what is this one called? I'm forgetting its name. And the tracking disruptor. Those weapons are just anti guidance systems. They basically meant to counteract your offense play. So when you do this here, you have the advantage in combat for a few minutes. Players who are playing massive offensive styles without any defense in their ships, like glass cannons, will be massively affected by this type of play. If you manage to get close to them, you can mess up the entire day in an instant. And you definitely can blow up massive and expensive ships. Now, I'm going to stop talking about the electronic warfare and I'm going to be talking about something that we all should already have noticed. Now, here is the thing, a lot of the EVE Online systems are now coming over to EVE Echoes, but there is a difference between Echoes and EVE Online, and it's not a small difference. Number one, EVE Online is a PC game, and a PC game is made for a particular audience who will dedicate a set amount of time to playing a game, while EVE Echoes is dedicated to a mobile gaming audience who will play casually within the game. Now, even though they are bringing aspects from EVE Online to EVE Echoes, the reason for it being so well received as far as EVE is concerned is their community group has a very small number of people actually putting in their feedback, giving comments, explaining exactly what's going on. And majority of the players who are doing this are from the EVE Online community, from the old PvP aspect of the game. And they're trying to get back the EVE Online play in EVE Echoes. Now, EVE Online had a massive fallout with most of its audience, where a large number of players got off the game due to the high loss, high risk factor. Now we are on a mobile medium, which is even more affected by the high risk, high loss aspect. And in case you are thinking this is the first time it's been tried, this isn't the first time. Other games have come through from PC down to mobile, and when they came through with hardcore systems, they actually alter it within a year. And another aspect in terms of gameplay is the addition of new servers and new play areas every few months. Now, for example, here with Eve Echoes, they might have to launch a new server for new players once every 3 months, and once every 6 months, or once every 9 months or a year, they're going to have to merge servers together to get good audiences on the remaining servers. However, this is going to cause conflict because you're going to have matching areas in different servers, so you're going to have a server war basically while they're merging together. Basically, things like warp space or hyperspace or something like that. There's the battle area, and you determine the winner for each area based on a time zone calculation match, basically. Something like that to make sure that you can actually progress through to the next level. Now, you might be thinking at something like 9 months, this isn't going to be fair. Actually, it will be very fair. Players will all be stuck in the T8 meta, even if they started 3 months later, with most of the players in those big corps and alliances being at being in the middle of T8 heading towards T9. and it will be a very fair play for all the players who are there at the time, because you will have the same systems available to you. It's just that the newer server had access to all of the weapon systems from the start, while the older server had access to less and less and had to adjust to the new systems as they came out. So that is the only thing which we might be seeing in this game. I'm not sure if they will play this model, because this model is has been played with every single game that I've seen so far. Star Trek. Let's see which other games are there that I do know are on mobile and PC. Total Domination. I haven't seen a World of Warcraft, Clash of Clans, Vikings. I'm not sure about Raid, but there are plenty of different games that have used this meta. Now, there is something that might be coming in the future. So, if you are having a hard time, don't consider just quitting. Consider sticking around a little bit. You might get to jump to a new server. You might have to give up all of your gameplay, but at least you'll have the experience moving forward to a better server, a new experience where you can actually get a nice alliance. Example, Genesis Federation may end up sticking to the old new server. OP4S can start up again and take over the same role that Genesis has. Or let's see which other alliances. North, which has been destroyed totally on this server, could jump onto a new server, reset up, grow once more, and actually be dominant on that side instead of destroyed. And all of these things are possibilities when it comes to gameplay. And once the mergers happen and the servers start joining up, there will be nice, big, interesting wars to go through, nice amount of fighting to do. You're fighting for your areas where you mine and where you are set in. And after all of these combats are completed, everything merges, and the losing side is migrated to high sec and has to try and break into a new low sec to become a viable corp. And these are the things that you can implement in the game. And this is just a suggestion. It is a suggestion moving forward. Yes, they have decided to take on a very, very risky move by not listening to the audience of the game in every aspect. When I say the audience of the game, I mean they're getting something like 20,000 suggestions, and it's only coming from something like 1,000 players. I'm estimating those numbers, they aren't real. And they do the statistical work, by the way. This is how statistics work. You estimate based on figures, you try and work out numbers. So if they receive 20,000 replies, they have one of three ways to estimate how they receive these replies. They can go through the group and see how many people have a for or against their particular poll, or they can go through the number of people on their server, divide the number of people by the number of votes, and see which way it's impacting. If the votes are greater than the number of people, they need to find a different way to derive the stats. So they'll do it as an overall between positive and negatives, and that's how they'll get the percentage ratios. And those percentage ratios will then be used to work out how many people are for or against the meta in the complete game. Tracking a single person's name is impossible in the number of replies they receive. They require massive amounts of working force just to go through it, and I don't think they have that many people working on something as simple as suggestions. Now, why is it so important that the game advance and break into the mobile meta? Because we want to play this game in a year's time from now. We want to be playing this game in 5 years from now. We want to be able to be playing this game 10 years from now with the rest of the mobile market. Now, this game is highly unlikely not going to receive massive restrictions or anything of the sort, because its content is very, very small and negligible. There isn't anything really to worry about in terms of gameplay. Uh, it is a free to play game, by the way. In case anybody thinks it's pay to win, no, it's not pay to win. They have a pay to win. It's not a pay to win aspect. They have a pay to play aspect within the game, and the pay to play aspect is as difficult as as the free to play aspect of the game, because even if you're buying Plex nonstop, the maximum you're making is 40 to 50 million wait, uh, The maximum you're making is about 20 million of 100 plaques at the moment, and if you wait till it goes into a buzz, about 400,000 for the plaques. It is a small figure in terms of, wait, let me just go open the market instead of guessing. Okay, yeah, so 20 million is what it seems like from the outside. No, 400,000 a piece, counting it as 100. Yeah, 40 million per 100 plaques. And yes, players do purchase this, but for the amount that they purchase, they're only getting like 250, 300. Some rare players will buy 1,000 or 2,000 plaques and throw it into the game. And what this here will do for the game is it helps generate a little bit of buzz in the economy. It forces players to purchase it, and it allows the free to play element to get into the elite areas of the game. You get access to Omega and Omega bonuses. Now, with this here being said, also the other thing to do with Plex is the fact that it gives you the chance to, let's see, how do I explain it? Plex gives you the chance to respec your skills, and there is something else where it is used, and it generates just that little bit of a buzz within the game that it actually drives a little bit of the economy. So those players who are paying are actually supporting the servers. They're generating the income for the company, and it may not be that massive amount like a pay to win game like Arc of War, where they are doing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month based off their small community, because most of their community will pay to win, because that game's majority aspect is in pay to win. Now, majority of this game's aspect is free to play, and it will keep a community for far longer than a pay to win game. A pay to win game keeps a pay to win community for a very long time because of the amount of money they invest. And it's only when they get totally frustrated that they actually get off the game. Now, that is going to be about the message for this video. And all of you in Warp Drive, remember to hit that subscribe button. Remember, you're warping through space. It's just a small little red button. Just press it a little bit for me on my channel. You know, maybe like 1,000 of you do it. I really appreciate it. I'm just messing around mainly with all these pop culture references, and I'm a massive fan of science fiction shows, so you're going to get a ton of references. I might ask you to flux your capacitor by hitting that subscribe button. It was actually my original slogan for today, but I decided to go Star Trek and ask you all to engage the warp drive by hitting the subscribe button. So thank you all for watching. Have a good day.